From the WKYX newsroom, I'm Tim Brockwell. The results of an investigation are expected Monday regarding an altercation involving the McCracken County Emergency Management Director. Bill Hughes reports.
McCracken County Attorney Mike Murphy says he has everything he needs to complete the investigation.
I have the video. I've talked to some of the parties, and I will have completed talking to everyone that I need to talk to by the close of business Friday. That gives me the weekend to think it through and then come to some conclusion about what, if anything, I need to do or fiscal court needs to do sometime first of next week.
Murphy said he doesn't know whether Director Paul Carter has been placed on suspension since the incident. That's a question for Van Newberry, the county judge executive. Calls to Newberry have not yet been returned. The incident last Saturday at an accident scene involved tow truck driver Anthony Hess, who used to work for Carter, and current employee Donnie Lanier. As Hess was attempting to remove a vehicle, he was approached by Carter, who demanded the return of a jacket. Hess told Paducah police Carter screamed threats at him and grabbed him by the throat. Carter initially said nothing happened, but when confronted with dash cam video from a police cruiser, he said Hess hit him first and he held him back by pushing on his chest. Since law enforcement did not see the incident, Hess must initiate any charges against Carter, but so far he has not. I'm Bill Hughes.
Governor Steve Beshear will visit Fulton today to make an economic development announcement, which could be good news for the local workforce. Beshear will be joined by Fulton County Judge Executive David Gallagher, Fulton Mayor Elaine Forrester, and Eddie Crittenden, Executive Director of the Fulton-Hickman County Economic Development Partnership. The announcement is scheduled for 10:30 a.m. at the Pontotoc Community Center, located at 101 Commercial Avenue. There is expectation that the governor's visit means a new German auto parts company is moving to the area. Earlier this week, the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development granted preliminary approval for an incentives package to allow Kaiser Automotive Systems to construct a $17.5 million plant in Fulton County. The new facility could create more than 120 new jobs in an area with 16% unemployment. The jobs would reportedly pay about $17 an hour. While crews were still working at the old location of Paducah Middle School Thursday evening, a small fire broke out. The cause of the fire is still unknown, but fire departments arrived on the scene about 5:30 p.m. and extinguished the blaze. Contractors remained on the property and resumed their work after the firefighters left. 3 Kentucky airports are sharing more than $1 million in federal grants. The grants will go to the Fleming Mason Airport in Flemingsburg, the Marion Crittenden County Airport, and Frankfort's Capital City Airport. The money was awarded by the Federal Aviation Administration, and it will cover a large percentage of the project costs. The Flemingsburg Airport is receiving $518,576 for property acquisition near a runway. The Marion Crittenden County Airport will get about $500,000 for construction of a 10-unit hangar, and Frankfort's Airport is getting $100,000 to conduct a wildlife hazard assessment. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet's Department of Aviation is also kicking in funding to cover portions of the projects. Russia's decision to grant temporary asylum to Edward Snowden has upset the Obama administration and enraged Congress. But if the U.S. wasn't prepared to scrap its difficult relationship with Russia because of missile defense, human rights, or Syria's civil war, it's unlikely the National Security Agency leaker alone will sour U.S.-Russia ties irrevocably. The two powers have managed to move past their half-century Cold War for global supremacy. After Snowden officially entered Russia on Thursday, the White House declared itself, quote, extremely disappointed and suggested President Barack Obama would reconsider an autumn summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin. American lawmakers threatened worse, but all know retaliation against Russia has a cost. The U.S. needs Russia to fight terrorism, get supplies to troops in Afghanistan, and prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons. The Postal Service takes pictures of every piece of mail processed in the United States and keeps them on hand for up to a month. Postmaster General Patrick Donahue says the photos are used mostly for the mail sorting process, but are available for law enforcement if requested. In an interview Thursday with the Associated Press, Donahue said the photos have been used a couple of times by law enforcement to trace letters in criminal cases, most recently involving rice-and-lace letters sent to President Barack Obama and New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Donahue says the agency's automated tracking program was created after a deadly anthrax attack in 2001 as a safety measure against hazardous substances. It's been a comedy icon in the last 15 years, and this week Kentucky gets a little ribbing, but still some national attention. Jim Williams reports.
Senate Majority Leader Damon Thayer appeared on Wednesday night's Daily Show on Comedy Central, telling reporter Jason Jones about nullifying any new federal gun laws.
Other than that premise being completely false, what kind of message did you send to those gun grabbers in D.C.?
I was pleased with the piece. I thought it was funny. The Daily Show is not a news show. It's a comedy show. And all in all, I found myself laughing pretty hard.
Thayer says he jumped at the chance to do the show since he tries to take his work seriously, but not himself. Jim Williams, KNN News.
More news later here or anytime at westkentuckystar.com.
In the WKYX WNGO newsroom, I'm Bill Hughes. Massac County schools have reopened today with the obvious exception of Brookport Elementary in the aftermath of Sunday's tornadoes there. All other Massac Unit 1 schools are in session, and Brookport Elementary School students were welcomed to the school for lunch at 11 o'clock today. Meanwhile, city and state officials gave an update this morning at Brookport's Public Library. Matt McLean was there.
Yeah, Bill, actually, a lot of things were discussed. This is the last news conference that's going to be held in continuity. The rest of the news will be released by email to members of the news media. But some of the things that we were able to learn, Ameren says everyone has had their power restored as of late yesterday afternoon. There may be a handful that's still without power, but that would be because of a situation on the customer's side of the electric meter. Southern Illinois Electric Co-op for the outlying areas of Massac County saying basically the same thing. They still got about 28 customers not connected because of issues on their side of the meter, but it's beyond that. It's not within the electric company's control. By the way, donations, another aspect has been added, and this is a 501c3 tax-deductible organization that has been set up. It is a website called SICF.org, SICF.org, and that's going to allow you to log on, find out where the banks are that will accept donations, and really kind of keep things in a very organized manner. One other couple of the things that we saw, residents in the area, according to police, need to be aware of their surroundings. There's still debris in the tree, a lot of power lines in the roadway, heavy equipment, and obviously being operated throughout the city of Brookport. And the state troopers are saying everybody needs to pay attention. Vehicles, by the way, in a new note, are now being allowed to drive on the Brookport Bridge into Kentucky, but not from Kentucky to Illinois. And until further notice, the curfew is going to remain in effect for the village of Brookport from 6 p.m. until 6 a.m. The state trooper saying he's going to be handling that on a day-to-day basis. We'll, of course, have more information throughout the day right here. I'm Matt McLean.
Thanks, Matt. IEMA officials said 48 homes were damaged in Massac County. Of those, 4 are habitable with no needed repairs, 15 are habitable with a few repairs necessary, 9 are uninhabitable with extensive repairs needed, and 20 were a total loss with repairs not feasible. The assessment teams are finishing up today. The volunteer location has changed. Anyone who wants to work should show up tomorrow between 8:30 and 4 at the old Veach's truck stop near the intersection of U.S. Highway 45 and Illinois 145, just off Interstate 24. Workers should dress properly for the weather, wear good shoes, bring work gloves, and any tools they think they will need since they won't be provided. Volunteers should also bring their own food and water. At the registration point, be patient since many are wanting to help. Everyone will be registered and get a short training session and then sent out to work. The Red Cross shelter at Metropolis First Baptist Church is in need of tarps, plastic totes, and work gloves for storm victims. Governor Pat Quinn, Senator Gary Forby, and Director of Emergency Management Agency in Illinois, Jonathan Munkin, spoke from the devastated streets of Brookport yesterday afternoon. Levi Holsapple was there.
Governor Pat Quinn said that the tornado on Sunday was one of the worst to ever hit the state. He said it's the first time in Illinois where deadly tornadoes have touched down at 5 different locations on the same day. The main reason for Quinn's visit was to let the victims in Brookport know that he was there to help. The governor said he was impressed to see how all of the first responders came together and lended a helping hand. The most important thing now, the governor said, is focusing on the homeless and those who are concerned about their future. Quinn said that faith, hope, and love was the best thing to offer the victims.
We're all citizens of Brookport today. We all believe in Brookport, and we want you to come back stronger than ever.
Illinois Senator Gary Forby spoke alongside Governor Quinn. The senator said he was glad to see all of the folks that came out to help. Forby added that he and Governor Quinn will do everything they can to help Brookport make a comeback. The governor said he's talked to President Barack Obama about the disaster. According to Quinn, Obama said he'll provide whatever the people of Illinois need. I'm Levi Holsapple.
In other news, a Paducah man faces theft charges after an incident last night. Around 7, McCracken County Sheriff's deputies responded to Denver Avenue. The victim said 46-year-old Kenneth Brunston of Paducah had been living in the home for several months and left earlier in the day taking a revolver without permission. Brunston has previous felony convictions out of McCracken and Ballard counties. Investigating deputies received information that he was on his way back, so they waited a short distance away. Just before 9, deputies were alerted that he had returned. They arrived on the scene and confronted him. They located a plastic Ziploc bag approximately 3 feet from the door of his truck that contained the pistol. He was arrested without incident and charged with theft by unlawful taking of a firearm, a convicted felon in possession of a handgun, and tampering with physical evidence. Brunston was booked into the McCracken County Jail. Remember, you can find news anytime right here or at westkentuckystar.com.